Hello, my friend. Come in, sit down. Let me pour you a warm cup of tea. It is quiet here today, the kind of quiet that lets you hear your own thoughts or your own regrets. I want to tell you a story. It is not a story about a war or a great romance. It is a story about a machine with flashing red and green lights, a machine that ate 10 years of my life. I am talking about the financial markets, the stock market, Wall Street, the great casino of dreams. Many years ago, I was young just like you. I had a sharp mind, a strong back, and a hunger that could not be satisfied. I wanted to be wealthy. No, I wanted to be free. And society told me the only way to buy freedom was to work harder than everyone else. To outsmart, outwork, and out-earn the man standing next to me. So, I did. For an entire decade, I worked 80 hours a week. Think about that number, 80 hours. That is 12 hours a day, almost every single day of the week for 10 years. I was a trader, an analyst, an investor. I lived and breathed the markets. I woke up before the sun to read the Asian market reports. I traded through the European Open. I screamed on the phone during the New York hours. And when the bells rang, I sat at my desk eating cold dinners out of plastic containers, analyzing charts until my eyes burned. During the late 1990s, we were living in what they called the dot-com boom. It felt like magic. Companies with no profits, sometimes no actual products, were suddenly worth billions of dollars. And I was in the middle of it all. I thought I was a genius. Every week, my portfolio grew. The numbers on my screen got larger and larger. I remember the morning of a massive IPO. The adrenaline was like a drug. I was shouting over the phone to my broker. The stock opened 50% higher than the offering price. In 10 minutes, I made enough to buy a luxury car. I felt invincible, like a god of finance. But gods do not have families. Gods do not need sleep. I was just a man slowly destroying his own heart. And this magic had a price. Or the market is a jealous master. It demands your complete attention. If you look away, you might miss a setup. If you sleep, you might miss a market-moving news event, so I stopped looking away. And by doing that, I stopped looking at my life. I remember my daughter's 7th birthday. My wife had planned a beautiful party in our backyard. There was cake, balloons, laughter. I was in my home office. The door was locked. A technology stock I was heavily invested in was releasing its earnings report that afternoon. I promised my daughter I would be out in 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes, I told her. But the stock started to crash. The numbers flashed red. Panic set in. I was stuck to my chair, making frantic calls, moving money, trying to stop the bleeding. When I finally walked out of that office, the sun had set. The guests were gone. The balloons were tied to the chairs, blowing in the dark wind. My daughter was asleep. I had saved my portfolio, but I had lost the day. And the tragedy is, I told myself, it was for them. I told myself, I am building an empire so they will never have to struggle. Have you ever told yourself that lie? It is a beautiful lie. It covers your greed with a blanket of love. It makes your absence look like a sacrifice. For 10 years, I lived in the future. I told myself, when I hit $1 million, I will slow down. Then it became 2 million, then 5. The finish line kept moving, because in the financial markets, there is always someone richer. There is always another trade. The game never actually ends. Then came the spring of the year 2000. The bubble burst. The machine broke. All those technology companies, those brilliant investments I had sacrificed my family dinners for, began to collapse. Trillions of dollars vanished into thin air. It was a bloodbath. I sat at my desk for weeks, watching years of hard work dissolve. I worked even harder, 90 hours, 100 hours. I thought I could outwork the crash. I thought I could fight the market. But the market is like the ocean. You cannot fight a tsunami with your bare hands. You just drown. One evening after a particularly brutal trading day, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. It felt like an elephant was sitting on my ribs. I could not breathe. My vision went dark. I woke up in a bright, cold hospital room. My wife was sitting in a chair in the corner. She looked so tired. She looked older. For the first time in 10 years, I really looked at her. And I realized we had both aged. The doctor told me it was stress. My heart was giving out. He looked at me with sad eyes and said, "You need to slow down or you will not be here next year." Lying in that hospital bed, I finally had to stop. I could not check the markets. I could not read the charts. For the first time in a decade, the noise stopped. And in that silence, a terrifying realization washed over me. I looked at my life. Yes, even after the crash, I had more money than most people, but my children were teenagers who barely knew me. My wife was more of a roommate than a partner. I had no hobbies. I had no friends outside of work. I had traded the best years of my physical life, the most important years of my children's development, for a series of numbers on a glowing screen, and the cruelest joke of all, those numbers did not care about me. The market did not know my name. It did not thank me for my 80 hours a week. It took my health, it took my youth, and it offered nothing but cold, hard cash in return. And when the crash came, it tried to take that too. Let me teach you something about investing. You hear a lot about compounding interest. They say it is the eighth wonder of the world. Money makes money, and that money makes more money. It is a beautiful mathematical truth, but let me tell you about another kind of compounding absence, compounding neglect, compounding regret. When you miss one family dinner, it is just one dinner, but when you miss 500 dinners, you miss a childhood. That is compounding regret. When you skip a vacation to watch the markets, you do not just lose a week on a beach. You lose the memories that would have carried you through your dark days. You lose the inside jokes, the shared smiles, the bonds that hold a family together. We are so careful with our money. We track every penny. We calculate risk and reward. We study charts and patterns. But we are so reckless with our time. We spend our time as if it is infinite, as if we have an unlimited supply in the bank. My friend, time is the ultimate currency. It is the only asset in this universe that you cannot earn more of. You cannot trade for it. You cannot borrow it on margin. When a day is spent, it is gone forever. I worked 80 hours a week for a decade. It was not worth it. I would trade every dollar in my bank account right now to go back to that afternoon and eat a slice of cake with my 7-year-old daughter. I would let that technology stock go to zero just to see her smile and blow out her candles. But the market does not accept that trade. There are no refunds on time. So what is the lesson here? Am I telling you not to work hard? Am I telling you not to invest? No. Hard work is honorable. Investing is smart. You must take care of your future. But you must remember that money is a tool. It is a hammer. You use a hammer to build a house, but you do not worship the hammer. You do not spend all day and night polishing the hammer while the house remains empty. You use the money to build a life. Learn to define your enough. That is the greatest financial secret no one will ever teach you. What is your enough? How much do you actually need to live a good, peaceful life? Once you find that number, respect it. When you reach it, step away from the machine. Go for a walk. Call your mother. Play with your children. Watch the sun go down. The market will always be there. There will always be another bull run, another crash, another opportunity to make a fortune. The flashing red and green lights will continue until the end of time. But your time is running out. Right now, as you listen to my voice, a few minutes of your life have passed. You will never get them back. So I ask you, what are you trading your life for? Look at your own ledger. Are you rich in money but bankrupt in time? Are you successful in the world but a stranger in your own home? Please Do not make my mistake. Do not wake up in a hospital bed or in an empty house, surrounded by wealth but completely alone. Take a deep breath, close the laptop, turn off the screen, go live your life. Because life is the only investment that truly pays dividends in the end. Thank you for listening to an old man's stories. If these words touched your heart, perhaps you can share them with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is one thing you are going to spend your time on today instead of your work? Subscribe if you wish to sit and talk again. Until next time, invest your time wisely. Goodbye.